Hey everyone, thank you for stopping by and welcome to e-GMAT. My name is Stacey and I am going to be working through this sentence on the weakness of the hypothesis with you. We're going to use the e-GMAT three-step meaning-based approach to work through this question. This is a great question because it is one of those SC questions that if we use the right approach and we use it efficiently, our route to the correct answer choice is short and sweet. So let's get started utilizing that sentence structure. As we begin reading, we see plausible though it sounds. So I know immediately something is plausible or reasonable, or it sounds plausible or reasonable. Now, right away, I see it sitting here. And whenever I see the pronoun it, or any pronoun in a sentence for that matter, I always stop and do a double check, and because I call pronouns these little demons, and the reason I refer to them as demons in the sentence is they really can mess with our meaning. So I always do a pause and check what my pronouns are referring to. So plausible though it sounds. Okay, so I'm going to ask that question. Well, what is it? What sounds plausible? And I keep reading to find out more. The weakness of the hypothesis. Okay, so it seems that it here is referring to this weakness. Okay, so plausible though the weakness sounds. All right, keep reading. Going to get everything together before I jump to any conclusions. The weakness of the hypothesis is that, so now I'm going to get an explanation about what this weakness is. The weakness is that it does not incorporate, okay, so another little pronoun demon sitting here. It does not incorporate, so this definitely seems to also be referring to this weakness. It does not incorporate all relevant evidence. So the weakness does not incorporate all relevant evidence. That doesn't seem to be making much sense. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to ask that tough question. Does it make sense? Does it make sense to say that plausible though a weakness sounds? A weakness wouldn't sound plausible or reasonable, right? Inherently, a weakness is not something that is reasonable. Now, a hypothesis, on the other hand, I know is an educated guess, and that the hypothesis could sound reasonable. And then I have this contrast. And so possibly the author's trying to say that, yes, the hypothesis sounds reasonable, but it has a weakness, and that weakness is that the hypothesis does not incorporate all relevant evidence. So I kind of have to look at my entire sentence. I can't just focus on the underlined portion here because I have pronoun demons playing around in both portions of the sentence. So my logical aspects don't seem to be communicating what my grammatical pieces are communicating and the meaning that I'm getting from the original sentence. So I have to do a bit of inferencing here. So my logical aspects are something sounds plausible, and the hypothesis has a weakness, and the weakness is that the hypothesis does not incorporate all relevant evidence. That seems to be the logical meaning behind the sentence. But grammatically, as we said, these little pronoun demons are messing with this meaning of the sentence. And so we have a pronoun error that's leading to this meaning error because we know a weakness is not going to be reasonable. It's the hypothesis that's going to be reasonable. So possibly we could correct this if we could communicate that even though the hypothesis sounds plausible, it has the stated weakness and what that weakness is. So if we could move the hypothesis over into the subject position, then it would get the reference of these two little pronouns. It sounds and it does would both reference that subject hypothesis. That would give us the meaning we are looking for. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to move on over into our answer choices and see if we can find an answer choice that gives us what we are looking for. So choice A is out because those little demons are running amok in our sentence. Let's take a look at choice B. Now this choice might have misled a few of you because of the slight structural change. Notice, even though it sounds plausible, this is a clause and not an opening modifier in this option. But still, if we want our pronoun demon it to appropriately refer to hypothesis, hypothesis should follow this clause. So it is in that subject position. So it sounds plausible that pronoun should, which is the subject in that first clause, should refer to the subject in the following clause, which would be hypothesis. But that's not the structure we have here. So that pronoun demon it is still messing with our meaning here by referring to the weakness. So this option still gives us that same illogical meaning of the original sentence. So we're going to rule option B out, and let's take a look at option C. Though plausible, the hypothesis's weakness. So here we have a possessive form of hypothesis, and the possessive hypothesis describes the weakness here. So we still have the same issue of illogical meaning, that the weakness is our subject, because hypothesis is weakness, so this is just an adjective describing this. So our pronoun demon in the second portion, the non-underlined portion of the sentence, is still running amok over there. Don't forget about that second demon, is that it does not incorporate all relevant evidence. That is still referring to the weakness. The weakness does not incorporate all relevant evidence. And that's not the meaning we want. We want the hypothesis does not incorporate all relevant evidence. And also, we still have this choice C saying that it is the weakness that is plausible. So meaning issues all the way around. Choice C is out. Let's take a look at choice D. Choice D gets the job done. Hypothesis is now our subject, which is what we were looking for. And the possessive pronoun it's that we have sitting here is referring back to hypothesis. And then our second pronoun in that non-underlined portion is also going to refer to the hypothesis. The hypothesis does not incorporate all relevant evidence. So everything is logically referring to hypothesis. The pronoun demons have been put under control. So choice D looks like our correct answer choice, but we're going to take a close look at E just to make sure. The weakness of the hypothesis, which sounds plausible. So you should notice right away that the contrast has been removed, giving us an immediate meaning error. So choice E is going to be eliminated just for that. We also have the use of which here, which is problematic because we're not quite sure which is referring to. Is it referring to hypothesis, or is it reaching over here to weakness? That's a little ambiguous. There's no comma in front of which is questionable as far as proper modification. So that's an issue. And then we also have that reference of the second pronoun in the non-underlined portion of the sentence, which would also, again, be referring back to the weakness. So choice E is out for a few errors, which leaves us with choice D as our correct answer choice. A few quick takeaways for you. Always take the time to ask up front, does this make sense? Spending that time with that meaning analysis is going to make eliminating those answer choices short and sweet for you. Pronouns must be logically and grammatically correct. Watch out for those demons that can create chaos in your sentence. You want to make sure that you understand what everything is communicating. Beware of choices that change the structure and remove essential portions of the sentence. We saw that contrast was removed in option E, and that messed with our meaning. So if we have a contrast in that original answer choice or original sentence, we want to maintain that in our answer choice. And finally, be mindful of how the non-underlined portion of the sentence interacts with the underlined portion. We must look at how everything works together in order to get to our correct answer. Thank you so much for solving this question with me. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to our channel to get more updates on great content and solutions that we have coming your way. Grab some helpful resources in the links below. There's a few great questions to help you practice taming those pronoun demons. From all of us at e-GMAT, happy learning.